Yes.
Delicious.
The frogs.
Super loud.
Do you like hearing people chew their food?
Well, you don't have to.
That might be fun. Introduce some lions to the players.
Yeah.
Did you know that everybody is born with 4 kidneys? Just like Grandma used to make.
Yes, the dung bread was especially impactful.
Yes.
That was exciting.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Northside Now. This is the podcast where we take you on a tour through all of the ministries and the latest happenings around Northside Church to keep you better connected with your church family. My name is Patrick, and with me as always are my co-hosts, Glenn Miller and Kevin Bryant.
Hey.
What's up, guys?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening to all of you.
Welcome back.
Yes, it is good to be here. Last time we tried to do this, the electricity went off.
Yeah.
It has been quite the spring so far. We've had sickness, we've had power outages, we've had ice apocalypses, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't quite remember a late winter, early spring like what we've had in a while.
Well, and last week was just a day of its own between the power going out and the internet dropping. And then
I know.
Right when we got it back up here, the transformer blew. And
Yeah.
we just needed to start that day over.
yeah, we were sitting in the podcast room with
Literally.
all the equipment on, and then the power went out,
About to hit the go button.
and we just talked in the dark for a little while. But it wasn't the same.
Yeah. So if you missed us this past week, that's what happened. And
Yep.
so ice storm, a tree fell on a transformer or something up here. And so Kevin and I looked at each other and just kept talking for a minute. And it's like, well, I guess we'll go home now. Internet didn't work half that day. It was bizarre.
It was crazy. Crazy.
So we're glad to be back. Glad to see everybody. Been some sunshine recently, and that's good to have back.
Yeah, I'm really thankful to be in a place where there are seasons. I know living in tropical areas are fine, and if you choose to live in Canada or Eastern Russia, potentially, the weather is consistent another way. But I do appreciate having the seasons. I've lived up north and lived here in Tennessee, and I enjoy the visual scenery that changes.
Yeah.
And right now, in our neck of the woods, the frogs are
Yes.
Delicious.
The frogs
super
are back.
loud.
Oh,
The frogs are back. The robins are back.
Yeah.
And not seen any martins or hummingbirds yet.
I've heard the hummingbirds are on their way.
Yeah.
I've said beginning of March, put your feeders out. So,
Yeah, we need to do that.
but it's funny when I'm driving in certain parts on my drive home, I'll have the radio on and the windows closed, but I can hear the frogs
Yes.
through
Yes.
all of that. And I open my window and it's even louder. So it's like, there's about to be a lot of little frogs
About to be a lot of little frogs, which also means snakes because they like to eat them
and blue herons.
and blue herons. Yeah.
Yes.
So things are starting to come back from the south,
yeah.
come back to the northlands.
Y'all ever eaten frogs?
Yes.
Yes.
Often.
Okay.
Have you ever been frog gigging? I think we've talked about
I've
this
never
before.
actually been frog gigging.
We need to
but
solve this.
I did a month or so ago try frog legs for the first time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Tastes
Never
like
have.
chicken.
I mean, yeah, they were fried, so it was,
Have you ever cooked them?
I haven't cooked them myself. No, I ordered them at a restaurant.
Didn't we have a story about this?
We did,
We had talked
yes.
about this like
Yes.
a year ago or
Yes,
so
yes.
ago.
So
It's a unique process.
it's a unique process, and it's something you need to do.
Okay.
Everybody needs to cook their own frogs sometime.
All right.
And not in a microwave. That's a really nasty mess to clean up. Me and a friend did that to his mom's microwave. We got in so much trouble. So much trouble.
We ended up just having to buy a new microwave for the new house, and so yeah, Elizabeth would probably get on to me if I started cooking frogs in the new microwave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good old-fashioned skillet does a good job, though.
Yeah.
If you have a place for the podcast team to come frog gig at your place, I have the gigs, and we can come get frogs.
I'd do it.
I'm always up for a new experience. Let's go.
So please hit us up. Let us know. We want to come get some big old bullfrogs. Yeah. And, Kevin, a couple of podcasts ago, was talking about eating on air. And we're talking about doing a barbecue thing. Maybe we can just do a frog leg thing.
Yes.
Hey, let's do it.
Yes. If we're going to break the rules of podcasting, which who made up these rules anyway?
Patrick.
I read it in a book.
Okay. All
That
right.
he wrote.
Yeah. He said last episode, right?
Yeah.
That you shouldn't eat on the air Unless it's a eating or food podcast.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have a food podcast.
Yeah, that's rule number 2.
But I don't know. I like food and I like podcasts.
But do you like hearing people chew their food?
Well, you don't have to on the air.
That would get pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
this makes for a great audio experience.
That's right.
What's his name? Kimball. He does the Milk Street. That's like one of the most popular podcasts there is. He's on PBS. It's called Milk Street, I think.
Nope. Don't know it.
He used to be America's Test Kitchen, and he left there and is doing like Milk Street now. And they're one of the most popular podcasts out there. So there's a food podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, check your sources.
I'll let it
man.
slide this time.
Yeah. Well, can y'all believe that the baseball guys are locked out again?
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this for a second. All the major sports go through this at some point, right?
They do. Yeah.
So they do their negotiations and they have their player association contracts and all the different things. And they make all this drama about, oh no, I think we're close to a deal. And then we're not in the last minute, we're going to extend the deadline. And I heard somebody talk about it today. If it's a deadline and you keep going after it, is it really a deadline?
Yeah.
You know, all these games they play, and we're talking about billions of dollars, right?
Billions and billions.
And so inevitably all the time there's this question of, really?
Yeah.
So they're arguing about all this big money, and normal everyday people, it's not even relevant to us in terms of all that. So there's that frustration level that I have. Of course, you got this argument. The money is floating around. Broadcast rights, all these things. It's a thing, and it's a reality for them because that's their contracts and all. So I get it.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if it's really necessary. What's the point?
There's a couple things that frustrate me on the whole thing. Number one, you know, if you have a union and you're a company, say like a car union or something, and, you know, the guys make what? 60,000, 70,000, whatever, 100,000 a year.
Yep.
These guys are making more than, some of them are making more than 100,000 an at bat.
Right.
You know? And then I saw a report too the other day coming out of Clearwater, Florida, where a lot of them do training,
Spring training.
and how many waitresses and hotel workers and restaurant owners and just everybody that's being affected, because that all trickles down into them. And they're on the end of COVID. They were hoping to bounce back this year.
Right.
And it is just killing economies in these places where they have spring training seasons and things like that. It's just, they're so rich and they're so up there. I don't know if they're even in touch with the common person.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if they even see us as a nuisance.
Well, and I think a lot of it's controlled and governed by the agents and lawyers, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Now, there are obviously some that are very active in the player association and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it's just a matter of a business transaction, money and whatnot.
Well, and you know, the owners want to make money.
Sure.
So do the players.
Sure.
You know, they want to do it as cheaply as they possibly can. Of course, it's normal business. It's capitalism at its best, and that's okay. Why drag this through and not start the seasons on time? I mean, I feel sorry I remember, I always tell people when I speak to like FCA groups, I was the best player in 1980 in baseball in the world. At least in my 10-year-old mind, right? Right. So what about that kid? That's the kid I think about, you know, the kid that's out there hitting home runs in his yard.
And, you know, I come back to this conversation a lot, is the standing of baseball in the world of sport, period.
Yeah.
It's fair to say that it's not the national pastime anymore.
Yeah, I hate that.
And if they delay, you know, they don't have 10 games, what is it, 160 some games, something like that. Yeah. I mean, the season's so long. How many people actually, and I'm not slighting any fans, because there are diehard fans that will catch from opening day and watch every game all the way through the season. But for the general public, we're not talking the level of NFL.
Yeah.
I heard this stat today, actually, that 85 of the top 100 programs are NFL related.
I believe that now. They've taken up a big chunk of.
It is amazing. And you would never, I don't think you would ever have a lockout or strike in the NFL.
Well, they had
for that reason.
For a long time ago, what was that, the 80s?
Sometimes
they had a big one, and they had replacement players and stuff are coming in, and that was really weird. And you know, it looks like we're even going to support a couple of new football leagues, the XFL and the USFL or something now that they're trying to get started. So this is a good question. I don't really know the answer to it. You've seen it some in football. Basketball has just rarely dealt with these player situations. They have. Baseball seems to be the number one big one that
it does.
But you never hear this out of soccer. I know they make big money in Europe and stuff.
They totally do.
But do they walk out? I mean, do they have these lockouts and all this? I don't remember hearing about it.
I've heard about it in hockey.
Hockey some.
Yep.
Basketball some.
Yep.
Football some, a little bit. But
I don't hear about it as much.
In soccer, or, the cricket team decided to.
The curling.
Whatever, the curling team. It's funny what the sports stations, what takes up their time and stuff now. You see cornhole and drone racing and rodeo.
Everything's a sport
bass
now.
Fishing and all those things now. And, it's replacing what baseball used to be. And, and I think baseball needs to pay attention because kids and adults, they're tired of the game. And I don't mean that in the game itself. I'm talking about in the game that they're playing with people's lives and feelings. And there's so much money involved that, why get all tied up into that as a fan whenever I can go down here and participate in my local cornhole tournament and be the same par as some of the guys that I'm watching on TV, So,
do you think the game needs to change?
Well, if it does, the Savannah Bananas and the Macon Bacon are the way it needs to change because it's fun. I mean, they have a good time. They brought fun back to baseball. I kind of tend to be a traditionalist when it comes to changing games and uniforms and stuff. I kind of tend to be the last person to really want to be on board with that. But if you're going to change it, I would contact the Savannah Bananas because they've made it fun.
I never really connected with baseball like a lot of little kids did for some reason. I played it in the backyard. That was fun.
Yeah.
But watching it on TV, except for the World Series.
Yeah.
It was so slow. And I found it kind of boring.
Yeah.
Now, when you go to a ball game,
it's fun. Yeah.
It's fun from the spectator side because there's activities. I mean, stuff going on the field at every inning and all that stuff. But it's interesting.
I don't know. Maybe that's culture's changing and we're getting so fast paced and
we need to be entertained.
We need to be entertained at a quicker level
all the time, every single second. Yeah,
I don't know. Again, it just needs to be fun. At every level, I think.
Yeah.
So that's what games and stuff like sports and all that's about, right? Because we don't have lions chasing them around in arenas. That might be fun. Introduce some lions to the players.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to dodge the sharp teeth of the predator sitting next to
the predators. Get some velociraptors.
And catch the ball out in center field on a sunny day at the same time.
Yeah, while velociraptors chasing you around.
Let's do it.
But yeah, I don't know. Whatever they do, I'm a fan of the Savannah Bananas right now. They're playing, they're having fun. They're out there in their kilts and having grandma coach third base, and they got all kinds of fun things. And let's just make the game fun again.
Yeah.
Well, quit worrying about, getting yours if you're making $285 million a year.
Totally. Totally. Don't you agree, Patrick?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What? I just hope both teams have fun.
Well, right. They're going to. They're going to have fun spending all that money they're making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's spring and there's really, we're right at the beginning of spring and it's about to happen. And, we're at the sports doldrums. We did have the Daytona 500. That's always something fun. But it's kind of that in between season stuff's kind of.
In our neck of the world, the grass really hasn't started to get out of control yet. So you don't have to be out getting all that taken care of. Although it's coming.
It's coming. Pollen alerts last 2 days from tree pollens and stuff. I was going to transplant some trees. I hope I didn't mess up and wait too long.
Ooh, that reminds me. I have something to transplant too.
Oh,
a kidney?
Oh. Do you need one?
Not that I'm aware of. Did you know that everybody is born with 4 kidneys?
What?
It's just as you grow up, 2 of them turn into adult knees.
Oh my goodness.
Is it?
That was the wrong button.
No, that was the right button.
There we go.
Is this the dad joke segment of the podcast?
That's all I bring to the table.
Oh my goodness.
And now it's applicable. I mean, dad and joke.
Yeah. I've been practicing.
Yes. Okay.
Bust a few of those out in the labor room.
Oh, I'm sure she'd love that.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking I'd just order like a pizza.
And have it delivered.
And have it delivered to the delivery room.
So I've heard of people doing that or someone doing that. It's pretty
funny. So everybody's dying to know, what's the midichlorian count?
Yes.
After your visit?
It's off the charts.
Whoa.
I don't know. She'll probably hate Star Wars.
Wouldn't
Let's be honest?
That'd be ironic.
That would be.
Yeah.
That would be actually pretty funny.
She's gonna like sports. Ugh.
Oh yes, that's
yeah.
I got introduced to another cartoon yesterday. I was unaware that it existed, but the teenagers were watching it. Cuphead or
what?
Cuphead
is a video game.
Is it? But they have.
I think they made
a cartoon. Yeah,
yeah, but it was a.
Was it a video game first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it looks a lot like SpongeBob. Like the same kind of people drew it.
Yeah, it's that sort of early
grungy.
Disney. Well, it's sort of that sort of abstract surrealist type, sort of like I don't know, think like Felix the Cat or
It looked
early
like
Disney.
It's
or,
very
you know,
2D. It's not.
It's
Yeah.
2D
very
and
realistic.
it's very kind of, physics
looks-
don't really apply.
Yeah, it really looks exactly like the people who did SpongeBob drew this too. So
Yeah, which Steven
been.
Hillebrand or whatever his name was, creator of SpongeBob, drew a lot of inspiration from that same sort of style of art, and animation.
So that's my newest cartoon I've discovered because of kids, and
Nice.
it's interesting. But I did pop up some on YouTube, some Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote the other day, and Clay was laughing his head off. He thought that was pretty funny. The coyote chasing that
Let's be
Roadrunner
honest,
around.
it is funny.
It is funny. I mean, it's like, yes, it still works.
Yes.
The classic when the anvil drops on your head and the bump immediately pops out.
It pushes it all the way
Yeah.
down.
And it like lifts the anvil
That's
off
right.
your head. Yeah.
Hanna-Barbera and them, they did a good job of just forgetting the laws of physics totally. But you did learn a lot about physics as well, because big things will fall, and if you're underneath them, it'll hurt.
Yep.
But they won't fall right away.
No.
They won't fall till they look down, and then
Yeah.
And the other thing I learned from that is that all of the animation characters sound like Yogi Bear.
They did,
You know.
well, they only had like 3 guys voicing every character.
And did you ever think, like, if you could run off a cliff, if you realized what was happening, you could turn around and run back
Right.
onto real land?
Right, but
before
you'd
fell?
never
Just don't look down, and you're fine.
Yeah.
You'd never
That's
make it
great.
because you have to realize it.
Yeah.
Just the way the physics of cartoons work. Those were simpler times, my friends.
Yeah.
The good old days. Well, Kevin did mention Russia a while ago, and we were talking about, different parts of the world and stuff. So with the conflicts going on in Europe and stuff right now, we definitely want to remember all of those people involved. You can watch tons of video online and stuff and see this happening as it's happening. I just think about the kids and, the people that are just there. Could you imagine just doing your daily life? I mean, my joke, people ask, how you doing? Well, we're putting one foot in front of the other, we're doing good. You're just making life. So now you go to work, you go home, you do the weekend thing, you have birthday parties, you go to church, you just live, right? And all of a sudden there's military actions, there's war in your neighborhood.
Right.
And that's got to be.
Yeah, I
just
saw
crazy,
some photos online of like before and after pictures of some of the places in Kiev.
Yeah.
And I don't have words.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're-
I don't know how I would respond in that kind of a situation.
You're just living life, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, it ends up in your neighborhood, and it's just a part of your family living now. It happened World War I, World War II in Europe as well, and Europeans just tends to happen in that part of the world a lot. I don't know. I feel bad for them, so definitely in my prayers for all of those people involved and stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine it's such a great feeling of helplessness, or not necessarily helplessness, but just the frustration at not having control over your life.
Yeah.
You don't have control of the food supply, your housing situation. And then once those things fail, then you have health issues and all of that. And it's in someone else's power to control those things. And at that point, you're just focused on surviving.
Sure.
Whatever it is. I saw a report this week about a couple of orphanages that are just trying to survive. They've got a bomb shelter in the basement or underground some way, and they're appealing for international funds and things like that. Or people now can be crowdfunded, so those kinds of things are giving them the support that they need. But still, the story that I heard were children with some disability of some sort. And so they're not able to function like some other kids would be able to. And so not really having a concept or understanding what's going on, but knowing that it's different and it's drastically different, it would just be very, I think, scary for a child of any age, but particularly for these kids. And so those are some of the things we just don't think about when these conflicts happen. And it is definitely worthy of our prayers and thoughts and however we can participate.
And we've all come off of, or we're coming off of, and it seems that the news just keeps getting better and better about the ending of COVID or the pausing or whatever we're doing right now.
Right.
But it's getting better.
Yeah.
And we have had a break from war for just a short time, and now it's back on our screens all the time. And there's so much going on. There's a lot of grief happening in the world. And so a lot of people concerned about a lot of things, a lot of loss. I mean, a lot of stress. It comes, just these images and the things that happen in daily living bring along grief.
Right.
And today we have Diane Rose here to talk about Griefshare that's happening here at the church And so I'm looking forward to having her here in the podcast room and giving us a really great ministry opportunity and a really great place to get some great tools to help us all as we grieve.
Yeah, one of the things that I know, if you live long enough, you'll experience a loss. You can experience it when you're a child, and you can experience it when you're older. Sometimes it's expected and sometimes it's not. But the thing that I know and learned over time is that it doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely a need to have a process to work through it. But also, maybe more importantly, is to have people to go through it with you.
Yeah.
And one of the things is, what do you say to somebody when they're grieving? I mean, I think all of us would want to say the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
But my experience has been, as much as you try to say that, it doesn't come across maybe as you want it to, come across. And it doesn't mean what you think maybe it means. And it's nearly impossible.
Yeah. Grieving is one of the toughest things we all do. And, when you're wrapped in prayer, you got all those people, it's still tough. And so you got to have some tools, and Griefshare, I think, is going to be one of those things that helps prepare us and equip us in order to work through the good, hard work that needs to be done to grieve properly. And so let's let Diane come and tell us more about Griefshare, and we're excited about this. So here we go. And we're here today with Miss Diane Rose, who is leading our Griefshare program, our ministry that we have here at the church at Northside now. And tell us a little bit about that, Miss Diane. Oh, first, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're glad that you're here.
Cora will be excited.
Cora.
Hi,
again.
Cora.
Hi, Cora, our favorite listener, our number one fan still
hanging with us.
So say hi to Cora again.
Hi, Cora Joy. Geeky loves you.
That's good. That's good. So we're glad that you're here. We need to get Cora in here one day.
Yeah, for real.
That's what we need to do. We need to have Cora come, and we need to make that happen. We talked about that before. But tell us a little bit about Griefshare and what's the purpose of Griefshare. A lot of times people, well, Glenn, it's in the title, right? But what is the real purpose of Griefshare?
Griefshare is a program developed by the Church Initiative program. Okay. And there are thousands of Griefshare groups all over the world who are helping people deal with loss, be it loss of a spouse, a parent, a child, brother, sister, good friend, anyone, just deal with loss.
Yeah. I would think in the stage of the world that we're in right now, coming out of COVID and war and everything else, and then just people's individual daily living and the loss that you experienced during that we probably all could benefit from some Griefshare times with groups right now.
Sunday, March 6th, is our orientation.
Okay.
And at that orientation, we are going to share, I think it's like 17-minute video on how COVID has affected the grieving process.
Oh, wow.
Not just for people who have lost loved ones to COVID, but just grieving during a time of COVID.
Sure.
People were isolated. They didn't feel they could go places. It affected a lot of people.
Now, did you go to a training for Griefshare? How did you get involved with Griefshare?
I lost my husband, Greg, it's been 4 years. And I basically spent 8 months hiding in my bedroom. I really didn't leave home much. Didn't come to church much. I thought I was going to be, all cool and I'm strong. I'm a Christian. I can do this. And I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I saw a sign in front of Calvary Baptist Church about Griefshare.
Yeah.
And Debbie Childress was leading that group and has for a long time. And I went to that group. I went through twice as a participant and then almost 4 full times as a group leader.
Okay, great. So this is not just a one and done kind of thing. You can do it as many times as you need.
You can do it as many semesters. They're 13 weeks long.
Okay.
And you can do it as many semesters as you feel like you need to deal with your grief.
Okay.
The name of our book is From Mourning to Joy.
Oh, great.
It's a great
title.
It's a great workbook, but it does lead you through that time of mourning. You're different, you're never the same, but you can feel joy again.
Is the class set up? I mean, you have a workbook and it looks great. Is it a video workbook? Do you do homework? Is it a discussion type thing in class? How does that work?
There's 3 parts to Griefshare sessions. participants buy a workbook, and they have homework 5 days a week, little bits of work, not much, because really, especially if you're early on in the grieving process, your brain just is not functioning, for big stuff, but just small amounts of homework. And that's the time where God's talking to you and you're talking to God. And then in the session, we have a video between 30 and 45 minutes, and that's from people who, we have some clergy, we have some like psychologists, and then we have some people who have been through the Griefshare program and come out the other side, and they're talking to us about different parts of grief. And then we move to a group discussion time where we talk about the video. And it's structured. It's not like, we're sitting around and people are crying and carrying. It's very structured, and you come out with concrete tools that help you figure out your life again.
That's one of the things that intrigued me, because I went online and watched some of the videos at the website.
Did you?
Because I was not familiar with it. I'd never heard of it before. And I was thinking, okay, is this just a share group, where if it's nothing against the treatment groups, but Alcoholics Anonymous and things where you're just getting together, or in more of the psychiatry perspective where it's a group meeting or a sharing. That's part of it, but that's not all of it by any means. And I think that's it's a really good way to have a mixture of several different things. It's not just you all get in a room and hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And nothing wrong with that, I guess, but it's more of a program, and it's definitely been developed to work through and to give time for working through grief, because that's the one thing I know is that most of the time you don't just work through your grief. It takes a long time. It is a multi-stepped process, and grief looks different at different parts in that process, right?
And for different people, these 3 parts, the video and the workbook and the discussion, they're all very structured and they're all equal. You wouldn't, we say participants have to have a workbook. Those 8 months that I spent in my bedroom, I would sit and hold my Bible because I knew that's where the answers were.
Yeah.
But I couldn't read my Bible. I didn't have
the wherewithal to...
you're in such a fog that that didn't fix it. People say time fixes. It absolutely does not. Yep. You have to have the steps that you need, and you have to have that process.
Yeah.
Well, working through grief in my experience, and I've had a couple of things. We lost a child early on, and time is part of it, but it takes a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work to process and to work through it and to find how you can operate in whatever the new normal is.
That new normal, one of the things we talk about are all those losses that are associated with your loss. Like if you lost a spouse, all the things that spouse did, like for me, it was cutting the grass.
Yeah.
When it, summertime came in and I had to cut the grass, it was not a pretty sight.
Yeah.
But it's all those secondary losses that can get you.
Yeah. So are signups already ended for this semester, or can people still sign up? And how much does it cost? Because I know the workbook costs something. So if I want to sign up, how do I go about doing that?
Okay, first I'll say for people with a new loss, it might be a little too difficult to come, within just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, too raw. Things are too raw still.
But I have seen people who've come that quickly.
Okay.
And it was good for them. But you have to decide when it's right for you to come. There's no such thing as like a sign up.
Okay. All right.
If it's 6 weeks from now and somebody decides, okay, I've got to get some help now, they can come in. I've seen people come in at week 12 of 13 weeks because next semester they can pick back up with week 1.
Okay. All right.
So come to us anytime you need to. Right now, our tuition is $15. That's because these books cost us $15.
Yeah.
When we run out of these books, they're going to be $20.
Oh, goodness.
But church members, we are taking donations and scholarships to help.
To buy books, yes. I hope everybody hears that, because I hate to hear that the book is going up. Of all the things that, if somebody needs this, they don't need to pay for a book. It's good maybe that you do that, but as a church here at Northside, we should be able to handle that. So please, if you're listening and you hear that, get with Diane and make sure that, we help that ministry out in that way. Because, people on that week 12 and they need to come, or week 2, I'd hate for them to have to pay that extra $5. It's just not right.
Well, it's not. We have 20 or so books.
Sure.
So, but when they're gone and we have to order more, they'll be $20.
I just would hate to see that happen. So let's make sure that we help out any way we can. And that's definitely one, because those folks that are going through that time of life and through that time of that season, that is, you need all the help you can get. And it's a good program. Or are you a Stephen minister?
I am.
So you went through Stephen Ministry. Is Griefshare a part of Stephen Ministry?
Griefshare is something that Stephen ministers know about. Stephen's ministers work with grieving people.
Yes.
But Griefshare is something it's a tool.
It's a tool that
they can refer people to.
Sure.
And we're open, of course, for church members and for the community. If you have a friend who's had a loss, whether it's weeks ago, months ago, or years ago, and they need help dealing with that loss, they're welcome to come.
Now, this is for adults. Can teenagers or children, is there a Griefshare, something that with them at all?
There is not. There is a video that you as a parent of a teen could watch to help you, red flags to look for, and to help you help your teen.
Okay.
I think some churches have done something for teens, maybe when there was a
major event.
Right.
We've done some of that, but well, good. So, Sunday afternoons, right? What's the time?
Sunday afternoons, 2 to 4.
Here at Northside.
In the Pacers classroom.
Okay, that's up by Highland.
Right by the Highland door.
I believe that's room 119.
Yeah. So, well, good. Well, anything else that we didn't cover, Diane, that you thought would be important for people to hear?
Well, certainly anyone who has a heart for helping people with grieving. Most people who facilitate these have been through Griefshare.
Sure.
But that's not a requirement.
Okay.
So if there's someone who wants to join us and help, they're welcome to. And if you have a friend who, they're grieving, but they're stuck at home like I was.
Yeah.
They're welcome to refer that friend to me. They can call me on my phone.
Well, help us all for just a little bit. What if that friend is at home, or what are some things that we should say or can say? I know so often we don't know what to say. We don't know how to address. Sometimes we go in like the bull in the china closet and say, come on, you're going with me. That's not necessarily effective or good. But sometimes we don't say anything because we just don't know what to say. If someone's in that situation, what's the best way to encourage them to come?
Sometimes just your presence is more important than saying what you consider tough love.
Yeah.
But when you're grieving, you're bristly and you take things, you're more sensitive than.
Sure.
Sometimes just being with that person, showing up with a meal, or come out to eat with me, or let me cut your grass.
Yeah.
Or, clean out your gutters, or. But just being, I know you're having a really hard time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
We all want to fix it.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is not something we can fix.
Yeah. We want you back like you were before.
Right.
Right.
So,
well, and I was just going to say, anytime there's a trauma or a loss, particularly, or something really difficult, you want to find those words to say just the right thing, to convey the hurt you feel inside, but you just can't. There's no way to communicate the care you feel in words. And like you said, sometimes it is your presence, or most of the time it's your presence, or letting them know that you're there if they need them. Continue to pray for them, obviously, but sometimes there's nothing you can say to make it all right.
Words.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if you know someone like that, just, I know this is just so hard. Have you thought about Griefshare?
Yeah.
Hey, let's look that up. Here's a brochure. I've got brochures I can give people or mail them.
All right, well, good. Well, Griefshare on Sunday afternoons, coming to Northside starting this
This March 6th.
March 6th. So it just started this past Sunday. Yeah. So good. Well, good. Well, thank you for coming to the podcast room and sharing this with us. This has been helpful to me today. I know.
Good.
Hopefully for those listening, it has as well. And if you have a friend or if you're that person, you can call here at the church. We can get you in touch with Diane, or you can come by and see her on a Sunday, and they can get you the help that you need. So thanks for coming and sharing this with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Griefshare on Sunday afternoons here at Northside. And what's the time again?
2 to 4 p.m.
2 to 4 p.m. in room 119. That's on the Highland side, basically the front of the church. So y'all come and give that a check out.
Welcome back to Uninspiring Bible Verses. This is a podcast within a podcast. 2 Kings 6:29. So we cooked my son and ate him. Just like Grandma used to make. Psalm 44:15. I live in disgrace all day long, and my face is covered in shame. Mark 14:51 and 52. And they seized him, but he left the linen cloth and ran away naked. Probably more aerodynamic that way. Psalm 14:1. There is no God. Psalm 137:9. Happy is the one who seizes your little ones and dashes them against the rocks. Ezekiel 4:12. While all the people are watching, bake it over fire using dried human dung as a fuel, and then eat the bread. Fiery dung bread. Delicious. Deuteronomy 28:35. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees. Hallelujah. I feel more joyful already. Yay.
Wow. How do you find these things?
I just look in the Bible. It's full of them. I can do anything with the verse taken out of context.
I tell you what.
Oh, man, it's like a rap battle. We need Rev Kev in here to see what he can pull out, too.
The last one, that the Lord shall smite thee in the knees, like I feel that one already. Like I feel like that's happened to me.
So what was there one about banging your child against the rocks?
Oh, yeah.
Is that the Kings you said?
No, that's Psalm 137:9.
Psalm 137:9.
Yeah. It says, happy is the one who seizes your little ones and dashes them against the rocks.
He's probably talking about like an evil enemy or something, right?
Yeah, it definitely has to be. So
we should have a little game to figure out if we can figure out what the context
what
is.
we should do is just post like Psalm 137:9 or whatever. Just post it on like our Instagram with nothing else to it.
That's what I mean. It's like
just have people look those up and go, what in the world is wrong with this human? There's some interesting things out
context is key.
there. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
why it's a cohesive whole, not just a one verse.
And some of those were even just, excerpts from a verse. They weren't the full verse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people do that. I've seen even preachers, preach on a verse and it'll be like the A of the verse, like A and B. And,
we're going to stop. We don't need the whole verse.
Exactly.
We just need part of it.
And translations.
Yeah.
So
Paraphrases
and stuff. People can add their own. Well, that's goodness. That's something.
It is very funny, though. I had a face cramp trying not to laugh out loud.
I think that's what people don't see is me and Kevin over here trying to make it through these things without just blowing up and just laughing out loud. So.
Yes, the dung bread was especially impactful.
Yes.
That was exciting.
Yeah. Well, you stop and think they used to use buffalo chips to start fires.
Well, totally.
Could you imagine?
And
the Old West, I'm sure, smelled so wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
Ezekiel, the whole Old Testament really is full of verses that you could just take out of context.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Well, and that still happens today.
Completely.
Animal waste is fuel. So
Sure. Yeah.
many parts of the world it still happens. So, hey, it burns. Gives us heat. Cooks our bread.
I'm not going to go there.
Yes, the podcast has taken some interesting turns today.
We like to keep things, interesting.
That's right. We do. Speaking of interesting, what activities are coming up? We've been through Ash Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of Lent.
Well, before we get there, I do want to say one thing because I didn't get to say it last week. So
Okay.
we finished up Raise the Roof, which was our first quarter mission focus during February, and we smashed that goal.
Really?
Yeah, $21,000. Check that off the list. We have
Awesome.
raised those roofs.
Awesome.
That's great.
They are going to get to build their classrooms and keep their accreditation with the government. And
Well, kids in Gamasar, here it comes. Here it comes.
So
That's
we're very
exciting.
excited and
yes.
very thankful to everyone that was able to donate. So,
Totally.
Good. Well, thank you to everybody who donated as well, and that's a really neat opportunity for everybody.
Yep.
Yep. And yeah, like Kevin said, we were through Ash Wednesday. We're into Lent. So did y'all give anything up for Lent?
I fasted this morning.
I've been asked the whole
Was that intentional, or was
Yeah.
that just you forgot to eat breakfast?
No, I have a doctor's appointment, so I had to, or I thought I needed to. But yeah, I'm still thinking on that.
Yeah.
It seems like the years that I make a big deal out of what I'm going to do, I don't mean like buy a billboard or anything, but just like I say it out loud to myself or to my family or whatever, I tend to really mess those years up. So
I get that. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't say it because
I think I'm just going to
it needs to
just
be between you and God. I guess.
Right.
do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it.
I want to Nike. I'm going to Nike my Lent.
Well, that's good. So yeah, nobody tell anybody else what you're giving up for Lent.
Just do it.
and then here's part of it. When you see them not doing what they normally did,
You'll wonder.
see if you can figure it out.
yeah.
Just walk up and say, "Are you doing that for Lent?" Or not doing that for Lent?
There we go. And then this past Sunday, March the 6th, we started the Griefshare orientation that Diane was talking about.
Good.
That was good. And that's going to continue through May 29th. So I guess is that 13 weeks? I think so. And that's 2 to 4, room 119. Ooh, this coming Sunday, March the 13th, is daylight savings time.
Woohoo!
Your favorite day of the year,
My
Patrick.
least favorite day.
My favorite.
Lose an hour of sleep every.
I know. Patrick and I've talked about this a lot.
Sleep is more important than sunlight.
No, it's not.
So for the morning people like Glenn, they are in ultimate joy.
Yes.
And for the night owls like Patrick and I, we are ruining the day.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
I love it. I love being able to have some sun all day long.
So yeah, make sure you put that on your calendar and make sure your clocks are set correctly so you're not late to church.
Yes, that will be important.
And then we're moving right towards Holy Week. So we've got, be on the lookout for a few more things coming up before then. They're not quite set in stone yet, but once they are, we'll announce them.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
There has been a change in the Easter egg hunt, though.
That's true. Yes.
That's been moved to Palm Sunday,
Yes. April the 10th.
3 to 5.
3 to 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that one
That one is set in
is that one set in stone?
Yeah,
Was she
yeah.
able to?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I think Christy this year is going to get sort of the petting zoo, the
Yeah,
animals and all
like
that,
last
like
time.
last year.
And it was awesome
And so
last
yeah,
time. Last year.
it was really cool. So that'll be exciting, and that'll be Palm Sunday that afternoon, 3 to 5. So mark that down.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Always love a good Easter egg hunt.
Mm,
I can't believe we're talking about Easter, though.
I know
I know it.
it's like just a little over a month away.
I mean, seriously, it just feels like we just did Christmas.
Yeah,
Does anybody have leftover Halloween candy?
Oh, I don't think so.
I think I got rid of all mine.
No, you don't. You have some in your office.
Oh,
from
that's-
like 3
no.
years ago.
You got leftover
I threw that
Christmas
away.
candy
I threw
from
that
years ago.
I had one Rice Krispie treat that was left from Halloween, and it was hard as a rock, so I threw it away.
My lesson from that, Glenn, is never accept the invitation to have Turkish Delight from
Delight.
Patrick Mathenia.
There you go.
Yeah, it's not all it's cracked up to be.
I don't know what it's cracked up to be, but it was not my most favorite.
Well, I just remember reading in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
of course,
Turkish
yeah.
Delight.
Edmund was ready to betray his whole family over some Turkish Delight, so
Right.
I was expecting it to be good.
But it was enchanted. You have to.
That's true.
Was that from the Candy Bank?
Yes. So there's a candy shop in Humboldt called the Candy Bank, and
I still have not been.
I went
Oh,
and I
it's
saw
worth a
Turkish
trip.
Delight, and I was like, you know what? I've never had this, and so I'm going to try it. And don't.
And they have a lot of candies from around the world.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So,
Yeah, the candy shop was great, and I had one of their milkshakes too.
Yeah, that is.
They are fantastic.
Okay, dude, I've got to be there.
We're not sponsored, but just throwing that out there.
But we are friends of theirs.
Yeah.
Because they have great milkshakes. My friend.
That's how I make my friends. Can you make a good milkshake?
So if you're over in Humboldt, it's right down from the just a half a block or so away from the coffee shop, which I know a lot of people go to the coffee shop in Humboldt. It's a good spot too.
Yep.
It's fun to get out around West Tennessee, these little towns away from Jackson, and just see some of their downtowns and stuff. There's some really good hidden gems out there that I want to learn more about and stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we should reverse the polarity. Everybody comes to Jackson to eat. People should go back out the other way.
Exactly.
To explore things. You know, going down to like Pinson, antiquing, and you know, all that stuff down there. And definitely encourage, if you're new to the Jackson, West Tennessee area, have fun exploring.
Yeah.
Tons to do.
Oh, and speaking of new, you know, the Ford place
Yes.
that they're building.
Yes.
Got a shout out at the State of the Union address.
Did it really?
Yes, President Biden mentioned Ford building all of their electric cars. They didn't say West Tennessee, but we knew where he was talking
Down
about.
Stanton Way.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I didn't see the speech, but I'll check that out. But that is cool. That's a big win for West Tennessee for sure.
Yeah, he gave a shout out to that. There was something else in Michigan, another car thing doing something, but shout out to us.
Yeah.
From the State of the Union address. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Putting us on the map.
Putting us on the map. We're more than just Rockabilly's hometown now.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, guys, thanks for podcasting with me. And thanks to all of you out there in the world for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram at Northside Now Podcast, go to our website, northsidejackson.com, or email us at podcast@northsidejackson.com. We hope to hear from you soon. Once again, this is Patrick.
This is Glenn.
And I'm Kevin.
And that's what's happening at Northside Now. Go get him.